guys, it's me again, Bonnie Gill. We were here last night and we started working on a couple of projects last night. One of them being a tumbler, another one being a coaster, and I showed you a pink tumbler that I was working on as a gift for someone. So tonight we're not going to be that long. I hope some people are on. However, we're going to go ahead and get started. I am getting started a little bit later tonight. I apologize. My day job as a vice principal, we're all trying to get ready for schools, and some schools are opening, some aren't. Ours was opening, now it's not. Everybody's going to do virtual here in New Jersey, and the teachers don't have to come in, the students don't have to come in, but administration has to go in. So therefore I'm there every day, and we're just still madhouse trying to get stuff done. All right, so let me flip the camera around and put you up on the stand so we can get started on the project. All right, I think I have you up in there, and I can tell tonight that this is where I need to be. So this is what we started on last night. Let me pull it down. There we go. This is what we started on last night. It's a beautiful tumbler. I'm making it for a young lady who is a Delta. These are the colors she wanted. Last night we had already sanded. We had already washed and cleaned. We did a very, very thin coat of epoxy on there. After we did the thin coat of epoxy on there, we put our glitter on. And if you want to see that video, if you want to see the video from last night, I do have it on my YouTube channel. I don't know whether it's saved to the as a live on here, but it is on my YouTube channel under Bonnie Gill. So you can go back if you want to follow along or do one yourself. You can go back there and do it. Now, as I told you last time, after this dried, I kept it on the tumbler. The turner. And after this dried, I took it outside and I sprayed it with Rust-Oleum clear coat. The reason we sprayed it with Rust-Oleum clear coat is because we did not want the burgundy moving up into the white, or the white moving down into the burgundy. So what I'm going to do now is I have a little brush. It's actually a Dollar Tree brush for $1. And I'm just going to sweep it like this to make sure that any loose glitter that is on there, I'm getting off. Make sure I sweep the bottom. Okay? The other thing I'm going to do is I am going to, at this point, take off the tape that I have up here on the top. Should have pulled that off earlier. Now you see what happens when you don't pull your tape off when you should have, which is right after you put this on. So let's see if we can clean that up a little bit. I'm gonna have to get my X-Acto knife. So I'm gonna have to get my X-Acto knife and clean this edge up just a little bit. Right around there. Now this is the same thing that we would do see, it's coming off just clear. It's the same. This is the same way you're going to clean it up when after you do it and you get a little bit of glitter in the inside. You're going to use your X-Acto knife to clean up that edge. Now, had I pulled this off while it was still wet, guys, which is what we should do, pull it off right after you do it and it's wet, then you won't have this problem. What it did was, once it hardened, the epoxy that was on the electrical tape pulled off, and it didn't pull off from here, but it pulled off of the electrical tape. Now, this is fine because I'm going to go back once I do this and it dries. You want to clean it up. The reason we want this little bitty edge here, I need to tell you, the reason you want a teeny tiny edge here is because when you put that epoxy on, you want something for it to grab to so it will seal. In this case, this 30-ounce tumbler that I'm using has a real tiny black rubber piece at the top. It does not have one on the bottom. It was just steel down here at the bottom. So what I do is I tape off the little rubber black piece up here, and that way when I epoxy it, it will go right up to this black piece. It will adhere. That way no water will get down in there. You got a point for it to seal. So no water will get down under your epoxy. Because water, epoxy and water, they don't go too good together. They are not best friends. The epoxy that I'm using tonight is Little Lee and Rose Pour and Art Epoxy, Part A and Part B. And we did say last night that with that epoxy, you have to measure it out by weighing it, because that is the way hers measures out. Hers does measure out 1-to-1, but we have to measure it out by weighing it. Now, all I am doing right now is I've had my epoxy in the stirrer. This epoxy is so good, guys. It takes a minute to get used to it, but this epoxy literally, once you mixed it up, it literally has little to no bubbles. And let's get ready to epoxy. So, now remember I told you the way I put mine on, put it on, but do not chase it, because it will come back around to you. Now this is where you can put on a lot and you can flood coat it. I do mine by hand because I want to feel where I haven't put any on. And you'll see it looks really, really dull because of spraying it with that, the clear. Actually, it's paint. It's just clear coat. But once you put this epoxy on here, this baby is going to shine up. Hi, Cynthia. I think that's Cynthia Gibbs. I think that's how, I think I'm pronouncing it right. I hope I am. Thank you for being on with me. Let me know I'm not talking to myself. If you have any questions that I can help you with, just let me know. Alright, I can feel where it's rough and where it's not rough. And I'm just going to keep rubbing it. Get it all on here. I tell you guys, it really did take me a minute to get used to this epoxy, because it is a thicker epoxy. And so when you go to measure it out by weighing it, it's a little harder to get it exact, and it took me a little getting used to. I had to come up with my own way of figuring out how to stop it right at the point that I need it to. The other thing I found is that this epoxy needs very little heat. Thank you. I think it's going to be pretty too. I hope it's going to be pretty. I hope my customer likes it. I pulled up, if you know who the Deltas are, I did pull up some things off Google that I am going to put on here. Okay, a little bit more right there. Oh wow, I don't think I mixed up enough. Now remember, as I said last night, when I get up here to the top of this cup, I am lifting my hand up. I'm not pushing it down like that. I'm not going down like that, because that'll sometimes put it into the cup. And you want as less to clean up as you have to. We might get some in there. It's not a problem to clean it up. I'll show you how to clean it up. You know, we're going to do every step, and I'll show you how to clean it up. Let's see where we need some at. When we get there, oh, I got a little piece of white something on there. But I am taking my hand and I'm pulling it up like this, so that as less as possible will go down in that cup. Okay. And I can feel it. I can feel where it's rough at. Like right here. It needs a little bit more. And you can actually see it too when you, yeah, right there. That needs some. Those are the spots right there. I could have did a bigger flood coat on this, I'm telling you. If you ever see where you need to do a bigger flood coat, just do more epoxy. Now, just so you know, you're going to have to do, when you do a cup, normally you have to do more than 1 or 2 coats. Depending on whether you use chunky, whether you use fine glitter, and right now this is fine glitter that I'm using. Let's put a little bit on the bottom, make sure we get that. You always want to make sure that your cup is even. All right, guys, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take my baby wipe. I need this to go the other way. I'm going to take my baby wipe. I'm just going to go right here in the inside of the rim of the cup. Every time I do this, I try to clean it up. Thank you. You answered my question exactly. I was thinking about that pencil tumbler you showed us previously. My oldest. See if I can get my. Okay, my oldest. Let's see more. My oldest son is a high school teacher, so I'd love to make him a pencil tumbler. Well, we could do a pencil tumbler together. I actually have an order that is waiting for a pencil tumbler that she wants me to do for her. So we can do that, and we can do it actually on a different cup. We don't have to do it on this. We can do it on a 30 ounce or a 20 ounce skinny. It doesn't matter what the cup is that you do it on, because the procedure is the same. So, you know, you guys just let me know what you want to do, and we can definitely make it happen. Because it's good for me too. Like, I am by no ways perfect, and I am still learning, and I still watch other people to get inspiration. And you can, one thing about looking at somebody do something, if they make a mistake and they do it while you're watching, it helps you, because it tells you what not to do. That's the way I look at things. Ah, there's a little piece right there. Okay, so now we've got this turning. What I'm going to do is we're going to whip up some more epoxy really quick. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to put it on my turner, my other turner on the other side. Because as I told you guys last night, I made 3 of these, and that's why I could take this one right off and put it on the turn over there and let it turn. So this is KS resin. This is part A and part B. So give me just a second, guys. I have to take my glasses off because, you know, sometimes I can't see with my glasses on. And we're going to measure this out. And I'm going to measure it in mLs. I'm going to do, because I have 2 things I want to do. That's 10. That's 10, part A. And we're going to do 10, part B. I'm just going to take it up to 20. So now we have this epoxy. I am going to put it into, now that I've got it mixed, I'm going to put it into another cup, larger cup, only because I don't like to stir, because when I stir, I get impatient. I don't stir it slow enough. Now you need to make sure you get every bit out of there. Get it down in your cup. Now this is still coming out a little bit thick, only because down here in my craft room, which is in my basement, it's a little cool down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to work on two of the projects that we started. Well, one project we started last night. The other project is one that I had already started. It was another tumbler. I hope I've got enough epoxy for that. I probably don't. Okay, let's clean the stirrer off. So now I'm going to take this. I'm going to put my little piece back down in there. I'm going to stick it back down in my mixer. And it's like a little cement mixer. It just turns around and around and around and around. I'm going to put my timer on. I put it on 10 minutes. I just look at it. If it's nice and clear before that time, I take it out. If not, I let it stay in for the full 10 minutes, and I just let it work the epoxy. Okay. So this was something else that we worked on last night. This is a coaster mold. And what I did was I used alcohol inks down in it. And see, this is how that Little Lee and Rose epoxy, it's beautiful. It's just crystal clear. It's like glass almost. Well, and this is something I've never done. I've never actually mixed two epoxies. But because KS resin is also UV, got UV in it to protect against light, this is already, it's hard to the touch. It takes a couple of days for it to actually dry, to actually cure, but it is hard to the touch. So I'm going to show you. I didn't fill this all the way up because I'm going to do something else to it today, but I want to take it out. I'm going to see if I can get it back down in there. So I'm going to try to remember exactly how I took it out. All right. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So what I'll do is after we finish, well, I don't need to put it back in because I'm going to work on this side. After we finish with what we're going to do with it tonight, I'm going to come back with my sander or either my sandpaper, and I'll just sand these edges down right here. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this. We're going to be using our heat gun. This is a heat gun. We're going to be using the heat gun. This is while the epoxy is mixing. And I am going to take, I use a Cameo silhouette, and I cut out my name using heat HTV. So we're going to take this HTV and we're going to put my name right in here. Okay. All right. So with most HTV, it comes on a carrier sheet. It comes on a carrier sheet. And normally when you're putting it on something, you reverse it so that it shows through the right way. But since I'm putting it on upright, I didn't have to reverse it. And this particular HTV does not come on a carrier sheet. So I have to work with it the way it is. All right, so that's my B. We're going to put that right there. Kind of corner. And we're going to take the G. Lay that out. And this is for me. This is just something I'm playing with for me. See how it comes out. I really need my other tweezers. And I don't have my glasses on, guys, so. And I think that's upside down. It is. And it doesn't want to stay still. This part I don't actually have to do without with my gloves on, but it wants to stick to that little point on there. Maybe I can move it up this way. There we go. That got it. We'll have to move this around a little bit. Yeah. All right, you guys can see that I got it right in the center. So I'm gonna move this B over just a hair. And the G. Ugh. And I'm holding this right here, forgetting that on this thing, it's sticky on the, what I cut it out with on my Cameo, my mat. There, I like it right there. Like that. Then I'll move the I over, the L, now I have, I hope you can get this on here. This is the dot I'm going to put to the B, and the little dot that goes over the I. There. Normally, guys, when I do this with normal HTV, it's on a carrier sheet. It is not this tedious, because you just put the carrier sheet down and the carrier sheet just holds wherever you want to put it there. But this is heat. This is not vinyl. This is the stuff that you put on clothing, like shirts and stuff. All right. I think this needs to move over a little bit. Excuse my head if it's in the way. I'm sorry. I think that's good. All right. So this is my heat gun. Oh, I have a question. Let's see. Jody, would my room temperature be a reason for my epoxy being tacky a week after pouring a tray? I kept my air conditioner in my apartment living room on high. I just had to scrap my whole project yesterday. I think it may have been part because I didn't. Yes, I don't think that the air conditioner had anything to do with it. I find that when that happens, it's probably because it did not mix properly. If you had a 1-to-1, then you either had more of one than you had the other, and it didn't mix properly. So that's the best thing to do. You can never put more epoxy over top of epoxy that does not dry properly, because it's not going to dry properly. All right, let's see if we can get this to work here. Get my heat gun. Okay. I'm gonna heat this up. Well, we'll do the B first, and then press it down. Just enough to hold it. So let me move my G back. Get back over there. Nobody asked you to move. I'm gonna have to play with these colors a little bit more, guys. Actually, yesterday I let my epoxy sit too long, so it wasn't flowing like it should have. All right, let's see. Okay. Normally this would not, like I said, it would not be a problem because I would have that carrier on here. But this one does not come with the carrier. See, this is what happens. And I'm trying to use all of this up. because, you know, as crafters, we hate to waste anything. There we go. Straighten out, straighten out. There we go. Now I'm putting the heat on it. It's just like heat from an iron, and it's too hot, so you kept pouring more epoxy over it. No. Once you let it set, if you know, sometimes depending on the weather, it takes a little bit longer for our epoxy to dry and harden. But if after 24 hours, if mine is not, if it's not hardened, I know I did something wrong. All right, so let's go over that again. Make sure it's down really good. Got a heat gun. Press that down. I'm just holding the heat in, guys. Normally what you would do if you did this on clothes, you know, you would take your presser and you would hold it down until the heat and it adhere with the clothing that you're putting it on. With this, you don't have that, so all right, it'll be hot for us to do it. Alrighty, so now I've got that on. So now what I'm going to do is, my epoxy is ready. I'm going to clean it off again. And normally, after I make up some epoxy, I will let it sit for like maybe just, you know, 4 or 5 minutes, sometimes even less than that. And the little extra bubbles that are on there will pop by themselves. I don't know about you guys, but I hate wasting epoxy. It is so expensive. So what are you guys working on? Are you guys working on anything? Have you started a project yet? If not, maybe over on another channel, I don't know if I can say this or not, but over on SD Lifetime Creations, I'm going to be doing a live, and it's going to be making a mini album from scratch. It's a part of scrapbooking. I do lives over there. I'm going to be doing lives over there with them too. So if you want to learn how to make a mini album from scratch, come over and join me for that one also. Okay, let's see. Let's just hit this. See, I just got I got 1 or 2 little bubbles in there. Let's just hit it just a little bit, not much, just very, very quickly. I want you to see very fine bubbles in there. So now, guys, we're just going to take this and we're going to pour it right over the name. I don't want to do a whole lot, and it will level itself out, but I kind of cheat and help it a little bit. Okay, I'm just moving that around to make sure I get every angle covered. And I did this with alcohol inks, guys, just alcohol inks. And I did put a little bit, I used a little bit of a sparkly in my epoxy, just to give it a little bit of a sparkle. There's a little spot right there, so let's move it right there. I kept thinking it was a hair on this, guys, but it's where the swirl is from the dark alcohol ink that I put in there. It's in the center. Oop, it needs to go down right here. There we go. I made some of these for a guy. He likes red. He likes red. His favorite color is red. And he is a, let's see. That's on the other side. Okay. All right. So this is covered. Put a little bit more in there. Yes. Let me just use all of this in here. What the hey? What the hey? We'll use it all in here. Can you guys tell I'm Southern? Can you tell I'm from North Carolina? Okay. So I need to put my battery on. I had 2 grandbabies the past 2 days, so we craft together. I'm going to watch your lives from this week again and try my tumblers out this weekend. Oh, that's wonderful. And Jody, if you have any questions that I can help you with, I'm not, a real professional. I haven't been doing this a really long time. But if you have any questions that I can help you with, just message me. I'm always down to talk to a fellow crafter. Just message me, and if you have a question, and I will certainly try to help you. But with those grandbabies, you need to come over and do a mini album with me. And I'll show you guys one of my mini albums. What a part. Oh, I am from a small town called Bunn, North Carolina. That is down below the Research Triangle, Raleigh, Durham, Rocky Mount. It's like right in the middle. All right. So what do you guys think? Now, I'm going to take this. I'm going to drop it like that. What that does, it levels it off, and it helps get any of those little bubbles that may be out. Now, bubbles may not be rising to the top right now, but if I let this sit, and what I'll do is I'll let it sit and I'll come back to it. So hold on, let me get... Now, when I use stuff like this, I don't use my torch. I just take a lighter, go over it like this to help bring some of those bubbles to the top. Keep it moving so that it does not burn it. All right. Let me bring it up. See, it's really clear. And I do have one big bubble in there, but that was from the pouring last night. So what I'll do is I will come back after this dries, and I will tomorrow maybe, and we'll clean up the back side of this. So I'm going to move this over here so it can dry. So I'm telling you guys, you should always have some little moles or something. So when you have that little bit of epoxy that's left over, you can actually not lose it, not waste it. You can put it in something. I've got tons of little moles sitting around. You can do little jewelry pieces. You can do little straw toppers for your tumblers.